Welcome to the show, guys. Hope you all had an amazing Thanksgiving. I know I did. I'm all turkeyed up. I got to get a workout in today. I want to do a special episode here today. Again, this is like super duper, extremely ridiculously early top 5 running back discussion here. So we're going to do the top 5 running backs for 2023. Ridiculously new early discussion. Now, a couple of reasons why I want to do this. First and foremost is Thanksgiving weekend. And I just want to do something fun for you guys, something outside the box other than just like, hey, waiver wire week 12 or something. Because at this point, you should know how good your team is. You should know, who to be starting. And if you don't know, make sure you guys go back and check out my most recent episode. I just did the optimal starts for this NFL week 12. So again, you guys kind of have it feel at this point how good your team is. You guys have it, we don't need to be talking about some of the obvious stuff. So I want to talk about that, but also the thought process here that goes into finding out who the top 5 running backs are. So there's going to be some discussion, some practical talk and, variations in my mind that go through my head to help me uncover the top 5 running backs. I am the running back whisperer. Again, I projected a decline here with Jonathan Taylor this year, right? We talked about it. We talked about all this stuff. We look at and project towards the future. So if you guys want direct access and deep dive into the mastermind, patreon.com/FFcounselor. Head on over there right now. You can join the community, guys. Super cheap to get in. That's how you get direct access to me. Start masterminding towards this season, and of course, moving into next season. So very important you guys join the front lines at patreon.com/FFcounselor. So that's the first thing. Second thing, guys, we got some games this weekend. It's going to be a good one. I know Thanksgiving games are done. I know you're all turkeyed up, but I'm still ordering some wings from Hooters, guys. Hooters.com. Right now, they got some amazing football bundles. Hooters.com or download the app. Head on over there right now. Use code FFC20 to save $10 on order of 30 or more on takeout or delivery, guys. That's Hooters.com. Download the app. The code you want to use is FFC20. Again, amazing bundles. Wings. You got the boneless wings. You got some amazing deals there, guys. Hooters.com. Go try out the food, order during some games. And I know you got some UFC coming up. We got some World Cup action. It's a great time to be a sports fan right now. And what makes it greater is eating and ordering in from Hooters.com. Again, the code FFC20. Go order some food tonight, guys. All right? So let's talk about these top 5 running backs. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys do subscribe. And I got to tell you here, when we're looking at these running backs this year right now, we got to take a look at who's on top right now. And that's going to help us. Now, I don't directly copy and paste, say, hey, these guys finished on top last year. We got to put them on top this year because, again, there's variables. Currently, right now, the way that it's sitting, the top 5 running backs in Fantasy Football 2022 are Austin Eckler. He's got 230 points. He's been absolutely amazing getting it done. And, again, a big part of that, don't want to make excuses because I'm not a big Eckler guy, is the fact that Mike Williams has been out. Keenan Allen's been out. There's been injuries to that offense. And he's been relied a lot in, obviously, the receiving game, getting the goal line work. He's kind of like that reliable safety blanket for Justin Herbert. So, that being said, it is what it is. So I'm going to, again, you guys are going to say, well, I'm biased. I may factor him out when I'm looking at the top 5 running backs for 2023. We'll talk about that. We got Derrick Henry here having a phenomenal year again, the only 1,000-yard rusher as it sits at the moment. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, and Josh Jacobs surrounded at the top 5. Now, Nick Chubb sitting there at 6. Stevenson surprising a lot of people. Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, and Tony Pollard here. Again, but you're factoring Tony Pollard's extra game there that was just played on Thursday. We have not factored in Week 12 weekend games yet. So, Eckler, Henry, McCaffrey, Saquon, and Jacobs, top 5. Now, if it were to end like this, going into next year, we know that the mainstream consensus would most likely put Eckler on top. And again, I kind of understand why, because he had such a great year. We got to talk a little bit more deep dive into kind of what's happened this year with the rookie running backs coming in, how the landscape looks right now with all these young dynamic talents coming in. There's a whole slew of committees now. There's a lot of older running backs that are kind of fading in the sunset. So there's a lot of variables to discuss. Obviously, the injury to the young and dynamic Breece Hall. So for me to actually have an actual legit top 5 running back list, the season has to end. The NFL draft has to happen. And that's why I created the 16-round draft solution, because then and only then am I able to figure out how the depth charts look, who's who, has the team improved the O-line, what does the team look like? And I talked about this at the beginning of the show. It's like, I want to talk a little bit more practical strategy. So for me to determine who the top 5 are right now, again, it's super early and super ridiculous. And I explained that in the title of this video, that it's super early, but we're going to have some fun here and kind of project towards the future. Now, you guys in the comments below, let me know, because I would immediately omit Austin Eckler. I would omit Austin Eckler from the top 5. Why? Well, again, a big part of that is he's coming off now going to be 2 pinnacle years. And what goes up must come down. Injury does count. We saw it with Cooper Kupp this year. We saw it with Jonathan Taylor this year. So the decline will finally happen for Austin Eckler in 2023. I know you're saying, well, that's crazy, Joe. Well, stick with me. Derrick Henry, a possible decline will come with him too. So I'm a little bit hesitant on drafting Derrick Henry this upcoming year as well. Okay. Again, we are super early. So again, it's so hard to gauge this, but I'm going through it. Okay. Because again, God forbid, there could be injuries happening to these top 5 running backs before the end of the season as well. So that's going to play a factor as well. So again, so many variables. Okay. We see Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs. Now, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs. So Christian McCaffrey at 3. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with San Fran. I mean, he looks pretty good with San Fran. When I look at it at a game-to-game basis with him, he's been pretty consistent every single game. So that tells me he's getting the volume, he's getting the opportunities, he's getting everything you need from him on San Fran. When we look at Saquon, he's fighting for a contract year. If he gets paid, if he gets incentivized, will he still have the fire under him? Does he have, how many more good years does he have in him? How much do they pay him, right? And then Josh Jacobs, I mean, he's having a bit of an anomaly year. He has not been on this level for a year or two. He's just never performed on this level that he's performing again, also wanting to get paid and incentivized. So many things in the current top 5 that I got to question. So I'm going to go over my top 5 for 2023 right now. And again, I want you guys to drop in the comments below, are these guys going to fall out? Are they going to come up? Are they going to go down? Love to get your feedback, okay? Now, again, before I go into the quick top 5, head on over to prizepicks.com real quick, guys. There's some games here. And what I like about Prize Picks, guys, it's a fun way to play DFS. For example, Dante Foreman, more or less than 56.5 yards rushing. Latavius Murray, who's now going to be the king of the Denver Broncos with Melvin Gordon being shipped off or let go, 62.5 more or less. Now, you simply select 2 to 5 of these props, more or less, and you simply put them together, you parlay them, and win. Guys, it's easier to win here. PrizePicks.com, DFS Lion, they'll double your first deposit up to $100. DFS Lion is the code you want to use. Go try it out, guys. PrizePicks.com. Have some fun. Super fun way to enhance that game watching experience. Go try them out right now. All right, let's talk about the top 5 here. Now, I got to say this, all right? When I give you guys this top 5, I'm not sticking with this list. This is not going to happen. This is not in any way going to be my final list. This is simply for entertainment purposes with research involved because, again, it's super early. But, again, we're having fun here today. So, that being said, here we go. Number 1. Now, this is a tough one here. And, again, I'm scratching my head here as I'm trying to figure this out here. I got to go with Saquon Barkley here. Now, that being said, again, I have my question mark simply predicated on the fact of the contract. And again, he's having this anomaly year predicated on the hunger. But when you look at a guy who's young, when you look at an offense, it's been improving. I mean, the Giants did look better this year. Is Daniel Jones going to be back? I don't know how much improvements they're going to make to the O-line. How are the receivers going to look? Assuming they continue to build around Saquon Barkley, assuming that, they beef up the wide receiver, they need some good ace wide receivers. Assuming everything goes in, the way it's supposed to be planned. Now, he is paid. Now, typically when a player gets paid, obviously he loses some hunger, but he's also got to reciprocate a return on that investment. So I still think there's still juice left in the Saquon Barkley tank to at least give us a top 5 year. So if I were to go 1, you could make an argument for Saquon Barkley at 1. Okay, again, based on those points. So is he going to finish on number 1 2023? No. And that's a big part of it. When I make my rankings, I don't really do rankings. That's why I give you guys 60-round drafts, because I give you all the optimal players drafted in each round, and rankings don't really help. But I do, again, for entertainment purposes. But when you look at a guy like Saquon Barkley, I take a look at it and say, hey, again, still young, dynamic, maybe just got paid or going to get paid. So I still see that. And again, he's performing very well this year. Again, 12 weeks in, 7 touchdowns on the ground. He's getting receptions. He's getting rushing touchdowns. Again, like I said, 7, just under 1,000 yards going into week 12. He's lost 1 fumble, which is it's not bad. It could get worse. Austin Eckler's lost 3. So anyway, besides the fact, I think Saquon could and should be in conversation as the first overall pick if it were to sit the way it is right now for 2023. All right. That's number one. Number two. Now, again, Derrick Henry, depending on how he finishes this year, right? Like he's already at 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns on the ground. This was my bounce back year. No one to hold him, no one to fold him. I'm almost inclined to pass on Henry next upcoming year, even though I know he can perform on a top level, simply because I think we've already seen the best Derrick Henry, right? We're seeing it this year. We've seen it in the past. But as it sits right now, I can't deny that I got to put him at number 2, predicated just on the volume. And that's another thing. It's a dying breed right now, right? The workhorse running back. It's a dinosaur now because you're only getting a handful of running backs that do that. Everybody's going the committee approach, and it's very hard to avoid. We even saw with Joe Mixon, who's supposed to be the workhorse running back, getting hurt. But prior to getting hurt last week, they brought in Samaj Perine to take the volume, and I think that's ridiculous. So I look at guys like this, and I'm like, hey, Samaj Perine has no business being on the field, yet he's taking away volume from Joe Mixon. We're seeing it with Zeke Elliott, who should be a workhorse running back, and Pollard coming in there, and it's a split committee. Zeke getting the goal line work, Pollard getting, all the downs pretty much, or most of the downs. So it's getting really ugly from that sense and that perspective. So based on the rarity of his talent, rarity of the volume, running backs to get volume, Saquon Henry still at 1 and 2. But again, I like them a little bit better this year based on their value. Because again, everyone had Cook ahead of Henry pretty much, or most people did. Everybody had Cook ahead of Saquon. They were sleeping on Saquon. He was rolling into the second round where I was getting him and crushing it. So it is what it is. All right. Coming at number 3 here. This is where it's going to get a little interesting. Now, you could make an argument for Eckler, although I do again feel there's going to be a decline for Eckler this year. But that being said, based on talent opportunity, if everything's going the way that it is, Eckler has to be at number 3, but I won't be putting him at number 3. I'm sticking to my guns. I've been off the Eckler train, and it's been hot. It's going to come down at some point, so I'm omitting him from my top 5 here right now. Top 10 maybe, but omitting him from my top 5. Christian McCaffrey, again, the fact that he hasn't gotten hurt this year is pretty remarkable considering he's been injury prone the years prior. So I'm assuming he's coming off a pinnacle year, so I'm going to fade him. So now we're starting to look at the Jacobs, the Nick Chubbs of the world, the Joe Mixons, the Aaron Jones, who Dylan has been a factor in. So then we got to start digging a little bit deeper on who I would want. Now, Kenneth Walker is a guy that is young, is dynamic. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Rashad Penny and what they're going to do and what kind of improvements they're going to make on that offense. But I would definitely factor in Kenneth Walker here at 3. He's been pretty solid. He's currently sitting 18th amongst running backs with 129 points. Gets it done in the receiving game. Already sitting with 7 rushing touchdowns. Obviously, the Seahawks believe in him. And he's going to be a workhorse running back predicated on what we're seeing. Again, we got to see what happens in the offseason. We're going to see what happens in the draft. We're going to have to see what happens with this team all around. But as of right now, I still like Kenneth Walker at number 3 because I know I'm getting a young, dynamic talent who's absolutely great and has proven it, right? And imagine if they had kept playing Rashad Penny. Imagine this talent being undiscovered. And this is what I was talking about. I'm like, I love Kenneth Walker over Rashad Penny, a guy drafted in the second round. And Penny, years to wow, we're not wow, always gets hurt. I like Kenneth Walker. So when I look at a guy like Kenneth Walker, I'm like, man, no brainer for me. I'm just going to get him because, again, it's a hard commodity. It's a tough commodity to find good running backs, and Kenneth Walker is that. So I got him at number 3, even though he's sitting 18th right now. And a big part of that is because he didn't get integrated till in and around, what was it, week 5, 6, something like that. He didn't get going full force till week 6 where he started getting the 21 attempts. Prior to that, 8 attempts, 3 attempts, 4 attempts. 4 attempts in week 1. Imagine sitting a guy as good as Kenneth Walker because you have to pay tribute to our veteran Rashad Penny, who sucks. So, again, I think Kenneth Walker in at number 3. Coming at number 4 here and 5. Again, this is, tough to gauge. A lot of variables have to play in. Travis Etienne's been pretty good, right? What's going to happen there? Is he going to continue? How is he going to finish the rest of the season? Brian Robinson, Gibson, how's that committee going to look? Is Brian Robinson starting to take off and start to emerge? You got to also talk about Jonathan Taylor here in regards to a bounce back year. He had a down year. What are they going to do with that offense? Are they going to get another quarterback? What's going to happen with the Colts? So now we had a down year for Jonathan Taylor. He's going to be a better value next year. So I'm almost inclined to tempted to take him. So I'm almost going here, maybe Jonathan Taylor, right here at number 4. Again, what goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. If you got the talent, you got the opportunity, you got the volume, I don't see any reason why Taylor, if healthy, and they make improvements and they start to build around him again, any reason why he wouldn't be a top 5. So again, we got Saquon, we got Henry, we got Kenneth Walker, we got Jonathan Taylor, and it could be Taylor Walker. Like either way, I like these guys. Again, you got to get them at the right ADP. This is why I don't like rankings. And I tell you, okay, well, based on the Kinshipsis, Taylor's sitting, 11th, for example, like Barkley was this year. Why don't you go and get yourself a Saquon, then come back and get yourself a Taylor round 2, right? Again, it depends on each round. That's why 60 rounds is the game changer, and everybody's drafting based on rankings. That's not how you win. So, again, Jonathan Taylor, I kind of like him at 4, but again, we got to see how this season ends. Is he going to stay healthy? Is he going to have a strong finish? If he has a strong finish at 100%, I like him as a top 5, even though he doesn't finish as a top 5 running back this year. Very, very important. And coming at number 5 here, this is where I'm a little torn. I have my guys that I like, Dameon Pierces of the world. I do really like Breece Hall. I got to see how his injury is going to be in the offseason. Is he going to get better? What type of improvements is that offense going to make? They obviously need improvements. The Jets do. How about Christian McCaffrey? He's got to be considered here as a top 5. You could make an argument for Alvin Kamara, but again, I think we've seen the best of Kamara. Jacobs maybe. I'm banking on youth here. So I'm a little torn here between Dameon Pierce and, of course, Breece Hall. But again, I think Dameon Pierce could be special. I'm going to go Dameon Pierce at 5. Why am I doing that? Because I think that the hunger is there, the talent is there, the work ethic is there. I was talking to an agent that knows Dameon Pierce, and she was telling me that he doesn't want to do any interviews because he's so focused on the game. Even though they're a losing franchise right now, he still wants to win. He still wants to play hard. So you got to give him credit. Coaching's been bad. David Mills has been bad. He's getting benched this week. So I take a look at all these things. And again, they're going to probably get a top quarterback. So they're going to get a potential franchise quarterback. They obviously got to make some improvements at wide receiver because they have no wide receivers. And he's playing this well, knowing that he's the focal point of that offense, and defense are keying in on Dameon Pierce. And they have no receivers. Nico Collins has been banged up, hasn't stepped up. Davis Mills not performing. And, Brandon Cooks, a little disgruntled now, some drama there in regards to he's coming back or not. I don't think he's coming back, but they don't have any wide receivers. So I don't see any reason with a good quarterback, good receivers, improved O-line, better coaching, that Dameon Pierce does not thrive next year and have himself a great year predicated and barring any type of injury. Dameon Pierce here at number 5. So Saquon Henry, Kenneth Walker, or Taylor at 3. So let's go Saquon Henry. Let's go Taylor or Kenneth. Right? Kenneth or Taylor, and then Dameon Pierce. So Saquon Henry, Walker, Taylor, and Dameon Pierce. And that's your very early, super duper early top 5 running backs. Again, I'm not copying and pasting. We talked. We had a civilized, intelligent hypothesis conversation here. This isn't just like, hey, man, let's just take last year's top finishes and copy and paste them, because it's not going to end up like that. We saw it this year, right? Where's Dalvin Cook? Why is Dalvin Cook not top 5? Where's Jonathan Taylor? Why isn't he top 5? Right? Where are these guys? Why is Najee Harris not top 5? Right? Where are these guys? Right? Like, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, why? Where's DeAndre Swift? Right? Why is Jamal Williams sitting 12th and DeAndre Swift not there? Why is DeAndre Swift not there? And everybody had DeAndre Swift at 8. I'm like, don't draft DeAndre Swift. He has years to wow us. We're not wowed. Jamal Williams, if you watch Hard Knocks, he's a lion. Don't. Williams will eat. And yet people still drafted DeAndre Swift as a top 5, top 8 running back, which is crazy. So hopefully you guys, I want you guys to share this with friends so the people eyes start opening that we do not do rankings. We don't draft based on cookie cutter rankings. It's not how you're going to win. 16 rounds is the game changer, and that's going to be launching in April 2023. All right, guys, super early. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy the games this weekend. Subscribe, thumbs up. And again, head on over to Hooters.com, FFC20. Or download the app and save on some amazing football bundles and food. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. I'm out.